Hola clase, vamos a hablar de los verbos con cambios de raíz. We're going to talk about stem changing verbs, something we first learned in Spanish 1, we reviewed in Spanish 2, reviewed in Spanish 3, and that still causes many people a lot of stress and anxiety. So, just so you know, this document that you're looking at right now matches the homework you have on here, the worksheet quiz on here. So if you would like, you can open this video in another tab, go and open your quiz, and complete the first several with me, and then just do the last 9 or 10 by yourself. So, verbos con cambio de raíz, stem changing verbs. So, first of all, there are 3 main kinds of stem changing verbs. Stem changing verbs, as we know, only change in the, hopefully you're screaming boot in your head or out loud, or bota if we're talking Spanish, meaning the nosotros and the vosotros forms are not affected. So for each of these, if you were doing this on paper, you would be outlining a boot right here. Okay? Around all of the singular pronouns and the third person plural. Now, it is important to remember that there really is no trick to knowing what verbs stem change. You pretty much just have to memorize which ones do and which ones don't. I do think as you go on, it gets easier because you start to feel like they sound wrong if they're not stem changed. All right, so the 3 types are E to IE, O to UE, and E to I. E to I only happen on IR verbs, and they're very, very rare. Okay? So pensar, to think. The stem is pens, P-E-N-S. The E will change to I-E. So in our boot, we'll have PNs, PNs, PNs. And one more time, just for good measure, PNs. Outside of our boot, we'll just have the normal stem, pens, pens. And then we conjugate it like we would any other AR verb. So O ends in, yo ends in O, pienso. Tu ends in as, piensas. LA usted ends in a, piensa. Nosotros pensamos. Vosotros pensáis. And ellos, ellas, ustedes piensan. Okay? So don't let the stem change screw you up with conjugation. It's just like you would any other AR, ER, or IR verb. You're just changing the stem as well. So, poder, it's an O to UE. We look at our stem, pod. Our O is going to change to UE. All right? So, inside our boot, we should have Quade, 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 and Quade here. And on the 2 outside of the boot, we should have our normal stem, pod, pod. This is an ER verb, so we're going to conjugate it with normal ER endings. Puedo, O always ends in yo. Yo always ends in O. I can speak today. Tu should end in ace, puedes. LA usted A. Podemos, that's an E. Podeis, accent on the E because it's an ER verb. Pueden, en. Last but not least, servir. Our stem is serve. Our E is going to change to I. Just a reminder, if there would be two E's or more, if there is more than one E in a stem, in the stem, not including the ER, IR, the ER part, okay? It is always the second E that stem changes. So for example, entender, which is an E to IE, it is this E that stem changes, not the C. All right, back to servir. So our E is going to change to I. So we have serve, 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 and serve. And outside of our boot, we have serve, our normal one, serve. Once again, we're going to conjugate as we would any other IR verb. Yo ends in O, two ends in ace. So far we have sirvo, sirves. LA usted ends in A, sirve. Nosotros servimos. Vosotros servís with an accent on the I because it's an IR verb. And ellos ustedes sirven. Bien. Now, I said there were three main kinds of stem changing verbs. There is one U to UE verb, and it is jugar. And I suggest you treat him very similarly to your O to UE. It's very similar, just the U is changing instead of an O. All right, so let's do a few together. Yo blank una Coca-Cola. I want a Coca-Cola. Well, my stem is care. It will stem change for yo because yo would be in the boot. This E is going to stem change. So I'm going to have quiere. And as we've said, we don't have to do anything different for the endings. Yo always ends in O, so it's going to be quiero. All right, nosotros blank una eliminada. We prefer a lemonade. Our stem is prefer, but nosotros doesn't stem change anyhow. So we don't have to worry about which E to stem change. It's out here outside of the boot. So we're going to do prefer. Just for the sake of argument, if it was not nosotros or vosotros, it would be this E, the second E that would stem change. Nosotros, IR, ending, imos. A qué hora blank la clase? What time does the class start? Well, class is my subject, so comens is my stem. It is an E to IE, okay? So far we've had E to IE and, sorry, we've had E to IE for every one of them. Okay, so this E will stem change. It's going to be comienz because la clase would be like he or she or it. So it's inside the boot. And then our ending, because it's third person singular, is a, comienza. A qué hora blank ustedes? At what time do you all return? Our verb is return here. So volve is our stem change. The O will change to UE. This is our first UE. And if you're not sure about any of these, just ask me in class. Notice we've got volve twice, okay? Ustedes is inside the boot. It's over here. It's third person plural. So it will stem change for this one, vuelve. And then our ending, it's an ER verb. So it'll be en, well then. Now our next one has nosotros blank muy tarde. We will return very late. Well, nosotros is outside of the boot. So this one will not stem change. Volve. And then, as always, we conjugate ER, volvemos, and there we have it. Hopefully, this review sharpened your brain on how to do stem changing verbs. Si tienes preguntas, pregúntame. If you have questions, ask me. Otherwise, buena suerte. Adios.